Greetings and bienvenue, MITZU. Thank you for returning to this broadcast, and welcome to new viewers joining us for the first time. If you like a video, then feel free to subscribe.
Share stories or sightings of glitches in the Matrix, or inconsistencies in our reality that perpetuate the idea that our reality is simulated. For example, I was out on the water recently and noticed a sort of split in the color of the sky, kind of like pic-related but less drastic. I'm sure science has their own explanation for it, but it left me thinking and made me curious about other things like this. I'm relatively new to /x/ if it wasn't shockingly obvious, and I'm open to the idea that it might be a symptom of something more.
Some weird glitches have happened to me while at work. Here's a couple things that happened. On break, I want to go outside. It's nice out. The back room has double doors, not locked during shifts. The door doesn't stay open by itself. Have to prop it open with a large rock. Prop it open with a large rock. Go outside for a couple minutes. It starts to rain, so I head back to the door. It's closed. That's weird. I didn't hear it close, but whatever, it's not locked anyway. Can't open the door. Getting poured on, have to run around the back of the strip mall my store is at. Go back inside and go to the back room to find the door is propped open with the rock. The fuck? The only other person working was my manager, who was at the cash register the whole time and had no idea what happened. And then, be a couple weeks after the door thing, my manager sends me to the walk-in refrigerator to get some produce. Get produce, put it on the cart, shelve it. Go back to the walk-in with the extra produce on the cart, start putting it away. The last thing is a box of onions. Get the box of onions, tip it to make it fit on the shelf. An onion falls out onto the floor. Minutes pass, and I can't find this goddamn onion. Look back at the wheel table. The onion is sitting on the cart in the same spot where the box was. The box doesn't have any holes in it. What? That's all I got for now.
Had every single person at my work switch places with a different coworker in less than an hour. Our company's standard practice has nobody working less than 4 hours on a shift. You're never scheduled that way. 2 hours before close, every single person that had been there at 7 was gone at 9. My first instinct was, okay, weird, but maybe they're staying past 11, closing time, to set some shit up for the next day. Eventually I asked one, and she tells me she's been there since 7. Except I know that's impossible, because I saw the names on the schedule sheet, and I covered the lunch break of the person who was there before everyone switched places. Even the manager, who's on salary, so works well over 8 hours daily, was switched, and there was no reason to be. My entire staff swapped with people who would have, or should have, been there the next day, and it happened in the span of 15 minutes. I even proved it to myself when I remembered this a week later, and I looked up the old schedule. It had every single person I remembered being there from 7 to 9. None of the people from 9 to close. When I asked the same girl if she remembers me asking if she was staying later than closing time, and she said no, and that she'd been there all day, she said yes. The only thing that stopped me from confronting her about the schedule was it would have shown I was using an admin's computer when I shouldn't be. Drank a pint that night just to feel normal again.
For me, it was one of my relatives. My childhood friend was my cousin named Nikki. She was the same age as me, had beautiful black hair, hazel eyes, freckles, and was a really sweet girl who would always have a smile on her face. We could play and talk for hours and never get bored of each other. We lived far apart and could only see each other for a few days every 2 months or so. But I remember those days very clearly as some of my best memories. One day, something terrible happened to her. The adults never explained it to me because I was so young at the time, but I did see her at the hospital. She was out cold with tubes going in her and an oxygen mask on her at all times. She never woke up. Instead, we had to go home and visited her place a year later. I asked my mother about Nikki and she looked at me with this puzzled face. "Who is Nikki?" I started describing her and what happened and if she was okay or not, and my mother said, "Oh, you must mean Nicole." When we arrived, I met a girl named Nicole who was clearly not Nikki. She was 2 years older than me, blonde hair, blue eyes, completely different personality. And yet, everyone in the family swore that this was my aunt's only child, and had always been, even though she was clearly not the same person. Everyone tried to tell me this was the girl I would hang out with and she had always been named Nicole. When I asked about the accident, everyone thought I must be imagining things. So I tried talking with Nicole about this, and while she remembered playing with me as a kid, all her specific memories of what we did were completely different than mine. We never got along. I eventually got over it, but thinking back on this as an adult, I realized that something is seriously fucked up, and I have no way to prove it either.
This story happened to me like 3 days ago. Not creepy, but very weird. I'm just talking on Skype with a few friends, scrolling through YouTube videos and some other websites in the meantime. All of a sudden, YouTube just stops loading, and it gives me an error saying I have no Wi-Fi connection. I thought it was weird as I used Ethernet and it had never gone out before. I told my friends, and they thought it was kind of weird. My friend said it was weird, and maybe I had accidentally unplugged my Ethernet. I replied, "If I unplugged my Ethernet, how am I still talking to you?" And the moment I said that, the call dropped. After checking, I remembered I'd let my younger brother use it, and I never even had Wi-Fi to begin with. My computer needs a Wi-Fi adapter to connect to normal Wi-Fi, and I don't have one, which is why I use Ethernet. Still have no idea how I managed to get on that call in the first place. And it kind of reminded me of how in cartoons the animals only fall as soon as they look down.
Be about a year ago, reading in my room on the second floor of a 150-plus-year-old farmhouse. Go downstairs to get myself a glass of water, decide to walk around the house while drinking, end up in the attic, staring out a window. Turn around, see something in the corner. Walk up the last 4 steps to get a closer look. A thing appears in front of me from across the room, pushes me down the flight of stairs, fall into bed. Look out of the bedroom door to see the attic door off its hinges, lying on the floor. A full cup of water balanced on my headboard. My book is gone. I mean, seriously. I searched the entire goddamn house at least 4 times. What actually happened here? I don't know. It scared the hell out of me, and it's not the only time it has happened. Part 2. Be 2 or 3 months ago, at my best friend's place for his birthday. 4, maybe 5 of his closer friends over. Sit down to play something on his Wii, Mario Kart or something like that. Get up, again, to get a glass of water and walk around his house. Begin my journey. Eventually, I came to the basement stairs. While going down them, I trip on a shoe that was on my friend's foot just minutes ago. In reaching for the railing to catch myself, I drop the glass, close my eyes, fall onto the couch, nearly on top of his girlfriend. The entire room has a what the fuck moment. Hear his dad begin to ask if I'm all right downstairs. Then he calls my name. When I answer, he goes, "What the hell? You just fell down the stairs." I go down to find shattered glass and his shoe. My friend now has 3 shoes, 2 rights and a left. Blows my mind how I didn't break my neck. He still asks me about it every now and then.
Oh hey, I actually have a legit glitch in the Matrix story. Own a lot of books. Decide I should probably start putting my name in them somewhere. Don't want to just write in them. That would be ghetto. Buy a box of book plates with the intention of putting them on the interior covers. Pick related the ones I bought. Get lazy and never get around to it. My copy of Stephen King's Skeleton Crew goes missing. Our apartment complex has this informal library deal, just a bookshelf in the laundromat where anyone interested can leave or take books. My mom had dropped my book off there, thinking I was permanently done with it. I liked that book. Go to check the laundromat. It's not there. Later, I went to visit a neighbor there who I hung out with and played D&D with. The first thing he says to me when he sees me is, "Hey, I found your book in the laundromat. Did you mean to leave it there?" Ask him which book. Skeleton Crew. Tell him, yeah, it's my book, and no, I didn't mean to leave it there. But ask him how he knew it was mine. Because your name's on the sticker inside the cover. On the interior of the cover is a book plate of the design I bought. My signature is on it, in my handwriting. I never put that there, and when I went home and checked, the book plates were still sealed in their shrink wrap inside the box. Spooky. The only rational explanation I can come up with to explain it is that my mom bought duplicates of the book plates I got, forged my name on one, stuck it in my book, gave it to one of my friends, and set this all up just to screw with me. This would be completely out of character for her. I'm not even sure she had knowledge of my buying those book plates. And if it was a prank, she's denied responsibility for it for 12 years now.
While it's summer, I'm living at home with my mum. A little explanation for noticing such an insignificant thing. My mum and I are both rarely home, so her apartment doesn't have much food, and it's easy to notice if something was eaten or taken. Be a week ago, I want a sandwich. Go to the fridge. Notice turkey lunch meat is missing. Ask my mum. I don't know, Anon, I just bought that turkey. Mini argument because we both don't know how the turkey went missing. No one else lives in her home or has access, and it still hasn't showed up anywhere. Literally, a pack of turkey went missing somehow. Be a few days after the turkey incident. Decide to make a grilled cheese before I head to my bro's place. Where is the fucking butter? Is this fridge cursed? Remember that I used the butter up on another night. Laugh. Oh, another thing. This place may be cursed. Always sprint up the stairs. I always glance across the way when I get to the top of the stairs. Briefly see a girl hanging flashed on the other side of the railing whenever I do look up. This has happened a lot in the years we've lived here. I don't know if I'm just tripping or what, but that's what I see. Tempted to ask people that work here if someone hanged themselves.
I had a couple friends, Chase and the girl's name escapes my memory still, growing up that lived just across the street from me, and I noticed I'd stopped seeing them at some point. I moved away for a few years, then I came back and I became curious about my friends. I walked up to their house a couple of years ago and asked the folks that had lived there for the past 30 years if they were there. They said they didn't know who I was talking about, and that there were never any kids that lived there. And to add something that freaked me the fuck out, is that there was a picture in the entrance of their house, taken of the family. The picture was taken of the whole family, 6 people total, 2 parents, 4 kids, in France in front of the Eiffel Tower. It showed only the parents when I last saw it. I came back home and asked my parents about them. They said I played with a couple boys down the street whom I had never heard of before. Conveniently, some kid comes up to me the next day and asks me if I remember playing with him and his brother as kids. I have no clue who he is, and I am still freaked out.
B12. Be camping in northern France. Wake up to lights turned on at 4 a.m. My family are outside of the tent. Hear faint sounds. Go outside. My family are standing in the middle of the field with some other campers. In the tree line we hear war sounds, gunshots, whistling bombs, shouting. It continues straight for around 20 minutes. Fades into silence. We're freaked out. Managed to get back to sleep. I went exploring the next day with my sister. We find destroyed concrete structures in the woods. Get back and Dad has talked around. Found out that a large skirmish happened there in World War II. Also, not really a reality glitch, but be in a privately owned chateau bed and breakfast for the 60th anniversary of D-Day, touring the beaches. Told one evening over dinner that the Germans used the hotel for communications. Fast forward to the second to last night, June 7th. Wake up to the sound of heavy boots slowly creeping up the wooden stairs near my door. Walking slowly down the corridor, as if clearing the place. Stops. Go back to sleep. Wake up 2 hours later. Grab the bottle by my bed. Look to the corner of the room. See a figure sitting down near the wall. He had a hand to his ear, the other seemingly smoking a cigarette. Nope, and pull the covers up like any 12-year-old would do in that situation. Northern France is spooky.
B13. Moving to a new neighborhood. My parents are carrying a heavy, bulky box. They stop at the bottom of the stairs to rest. The stairs are a straight shot of 13 steps, no landing or spiral. I pick up the box and start up the steps solo. Slip on the 8th step and fall backwards. Let go of the box to deflect when it hits me. Hear my mother scream, my father calling my name. The sound gets muffled. Time slows down. Impact imminent. Close my eyes to brace myself. Continue falling. 404 impact not found. Open my eyes. I'm standing at the top of the stairs holding the box. My parents ask what I'm doing. Say I just slipped and ask how I got there. My mom has no clue what I'm talking about. My dad says, "It feels like we've had this conversation before." 14 years later, still having a good nope.
Sorry to say it, but you died in that accident, and then respawned in that very same place. In an alternate universe, you are dead. In this one, you survived, and didn't have the accident at all. Now think if the world is kinda different after the accident. Look for small details, a la Mandela effect, that looks out of place or just feel different.
Be 2 years ago, May. A friend had recently taken her life on the phone with me. One day decide to follow, fake sick. Mom works that day, so I'm home alone. Go downstairs. Find her gun. A lovely little .38 snub nose. Put the gun up against my head. In complete tears. Close my eyes and pull the trigger. The gun goes off. Reopen my eyes. A hole in the wall. I'm standing about 2 feet back from where I was when I shot. The side of my face is burned from the shot. I cry harder because it didn't work. Pack the gun back up, push the toolbox in front of the hole. By that time, the school day is nearly over. Mom comes back home. Lie about the burn, saying I failed at cooking something. She buys it.
Be me, the middle of Middle America. It's a lazy midsummer's night. It's 12 a.m. There's not a cloud in the sky. Perfect evening for a night walk and jog with a feminine. We made our way to the park next to her suburb. It's closed, but as usual, we sneak in using a small nature path that connects the two. The park is surrounded by old-growth woods with a deep and possibly dark history. Native blood runs through here. We stick to the large field clearing and start walking the perimeter, talking about music, life, and other shit. We make a circle or two, then call it quits. As we are rounding the last bend and closing in on the nature path, we see it. 50 feet in front, a black mass silently winks into existence. Frozen deerface.png. Time slows. Breathing stops. There's a small patch of cornfield here. Neighbors adjacent to the park is still farmland. It's floating about a meter off the ground. Opaque, inky void that seems to suck the light in around it. Rectangular shaped, two-dimensional, the size of a large front door. It faces us for a brief moment. We're still motionless, just staring. Then, as quickly as it manifested, it fluidly and silently rotates on its vertical axis on edge and disappears. We exhale, look at each other with bewilderment, tear ass back to the neighborhood, not stopping until we are back in the confines of her house. Stunned, confused, and excited, we recall the event and are unable to debunk or explain the phenomenon. Black monolith. .png. The end.
I suffer from severe migraines, auras, sleep paralysis, blackouts, and dizzy spells. I even have them when I'm sitting down. I get dizzy laying down. I'm always tired, and I start dreaming as soon as I close my eyes, only to snap back into reality once I realize what's going on. Sometimes I get confused about the order of events or what I was doing. I can't remember if I closed the door or put something away, or even what I was going to get in another room. To make it worse, the neurologist put me on Topamax, which took away my appetite and made me tired all the time. Then it was switched to Depakote, and now I'm a Depakote zombie. I'm having bizarre, extra vivid dreams. Even more so than before. I even had an episode where I thought I was awake, and it was so real that I had a hard time convincing myself that it was not reality. And it's not a tumor, if you are wondering. I've had all sorts of scans and tests. But what I'm trying to say is that certain conditions and medications can really screw with your perception of reality. Sleep disorders can really mess you up. I once had a sleep paralysis episode where I was a woman with a head injury. There was a bloody bandage that I could see the ends of. There was a doctor in the room talking to a man in American Old West clothing, and the man was asking if I'd ever wake up. It sure seemed real at the time, but I know it was not. It can get kind of scary when you start overthinking it. You start wondering too much about reality when you really don't have to. As for the names of characters, books, etc., when you are young and learning to read, you can very easily mistake some words and letters. You can also mishear names and titles when being read to, especially when you are young. I'm not sure if reality glitches are real or not. But it probably doesn't matter anyway, because if they are real, there is nothing you can do about them.
Be a sophomore in college. Spend most of the day previous to final exams studying. Go to bed at a reasonable hour because sleep helps process memories. Get up and go take my exam. Turn it in, and start to walk out of the room. Suddenly wake up in bed. The clock says it's an hour past exam time. Oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. Run to the classroom, but no one is there. Go down to my prof's office to apologize for missing the exam and to ask if I can make it up before I leave for the break. Before I can even ask, she's like, "Oh, hey, Anon, did you come by to check your exam grade?" Turns out it was the day after the exam, and somehow I completely lost the entire day of the exam and have no memory of it. Though apparently I did show up and take the test. I passed, though.
I'm pretty sure that glitches manifest themselves via conflicting thoughts. Be me some years ago, an avid tobacco smoker. One day I'm not able to find my favorite brand of cigarettes, so I buy another brand. Chilling at home, feel like having a cigarette. Pull out a pack from my pocket, accidentally drop it. Hear it hit the hardwood floor. Turn down and look for it. Not there. Keep looking meticulously, under furniture, etc. Recreate the event with similar-sized objects to see where it could have landed. Nowhere to be found. By now, I have probably spent about an hour searching for it. Turn the fucking room upside down. Move every piece of furniture out of the room. Still nothing. Genuinely concerned now. Feel like I'm losing my mind. Literally spend the rest of the day looking for it. It's no longer about smoking. My reality is being challenged by a pack of fucking cigarettes. The day goes by, I give up. Some days later, I analyzed the whole situation and remembered that when I dropped that pack, I somehow was sure it was my favorite brand of cigarettes, not the other brand I bought that day. I never found those cigarettes, and it still makes me uneasy to think about it. One of the weirdest moments of my life.
I've been through a weird situation a few years ago. I wouldn't have believed it if someone told me. And if I was alone, I'd think I'm crazy. Be at a cafe with a friend. We sit at a table close to another table where two men were sitting and talking. Both men were wearing nice clothes like shirts and neckties. One of them is fat, the other has white hair. Didn't pay attention to their conversation, but overheard a few words. Place my order for a coffee and wait, talking to my friend for a few minutes, having a good time. We get our order, and after a couple seconds, the two men leave the coffee shop. They get up, pay, and leave like anyone else would. OK.mpeg. When I'm about to finish my coffee, two men walk in. They are the same men we just saw leaving, wearing the same clothes, literally just the same person. They sit down at the same table they were sitting before. Order the same stuff they were having before. I overheard the same words they were talking about before. I notice it right away and think it's odd but say nothing. My friend is the one to point it out. At least I'm not hallucinating or something. He says, "This gotta be a bug in the Matrix," and laughs about it. I can't explain why these people would come into a cafe twice and do the exact same things they were just doing.
I hope that you enjoyed tonight's broadcast. If you enjoyed tonight's story, then please subscribe to the channel as more Greentext will appear daily. A new broadcast will appear when the clock strikes midnight Central Time.